Just a few hours ago, we finally got the first info from a reliable source on the next banners coming in version 5.2. The banners look very good, but also very unreasonable at the same time. So in this video, let's take a look at the new info on the banners and other updates. If you want to save up to 20% on Genesis crystals, visit lootbar.gg. I will buy the 6,480 Genesis crystals pack for $82, which costs $100 in the game. All I need to do is enter my UID and choose a server. Since every top-up goes through Genshin top-up channels, I received the double amount of Genesis crystals for my first purchase and saved $18 on top of that. Lootbar has more than 4,000 5-star reviews. I used Lootbar to send dozens of welcomes from my giveaways, so I can personally recommend it. Use my link in the description to get an additional 5% discount. According to the info from Full Stop Chan, in the first phase of 5.2, we'll see Chasca and Lyney, while in the second phase, we're going to get the return of Neuvillette and Zhongli. Very interesting thing about the second phase is that Neuvillette and Zhongli are both featured. It's funny when you think about it because in the lore, Neuvillette wants to judge Zhongli. So having them together on the same banner is a bit ironic. But still, it's one of those small details that fans might appreciate. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll notice something odd here. Wriothesley is missing once again. Even though both Neuvillette and Reeothesley were released in 4.1, this will be Neuvillette's third rerun, while Wriothesley has not had a single one. The same goes for Lyney, who's also getting his third rerun. Meanwhile, Wriothesley is being skipped yet again. And it's not just him, there's also no sign of Shenhe, another Cryo character who could have benefited massively from the upcoming changes. The situation becomes even stranger when you consider the elemental reaction buffs coming in 5.2. Like I talked about in my previous video, many of the reactions getting buffed are directly related to Cryo units. These changes are massive for Cryo characters who rely on triggering these reactions. This is why it feels like 5.2 would have been the perfect patch for a Wriothesley or Shenhe rerun. The new buffs would have made their kits even stronger, giving players a good reason to pull for them. But, according to the latest info, they're not coming. DK2, another well-known source, has also confirmed that neither Wriothesley nor Shenhe will be featured in the 5.2 banners. Personally, I think miHoYo could consider switching out Lyney for another Fontaine character. Maybe Clorinde or Arlecchino could take his place, which would really shake things up. There's also Xianyun, but I feel like she'll be saved for the next Lantern Rite. Of course, this is just my thought, and while it would make the banners almost too good to be true, it's fun to think about what could happen. According to HomDG Cat, who was the first to accurately predict Zhongli's rerun in version 5.2, we might also see a Heizu and Fischl rerun as 4 stars in the second phase of 5.2. HomDG Cat has been a reliable source so far, and even mentioned Kuki Shinobu being part of the second phase in 5.1, so if this info holds up, players could finally see Heizu return after a long absence, along with Fischl making another appearance. Usually we don't get much early info on the 4-star characters in upcoming banners. However, lately, there's been a shift, and we're getting this kind of information earlier than usual. Even the details about the next banners seem to be coming out sooner than expected. It's interesting to see this trend, and it makes it easier to plan ahead for pulls, but we'll have to wait and see how accurate this info ends up being. So, are you gonna pull for anyone from these banners? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to save up to 20% on Genesis crystals, visit lootbar.gg. All you need is your UID and server. The link is in the description.